From head to woe, Jones concussion, Saquon ankle, Galladay knee, KO'd and painful loss to Cowboys. It becomes difficult for me to talk shit about New York sports because in all honesty, the Jets just beat us. So I'm really refrained from talking about any shit from the Jets. The Giants are the most unlucky team in the NFL without question. Why is it not the Jets? Because the Jets don't give you a chance to think they're going to win the game. The Jets just lose. The Giants will give you every possible scenario as to how they can win the game, and then something will happen where it fucks up. Yesterday, Jones hurt, Saquon hurt, Galladay hurt. That's your team. That's your team. The Giants are unlucky, the Jets can't win, and a bunch of other shit. Has Buffalo taken control of the AFC? NFL Week 5 review. Go nowhere else. I'm loving the new layout. It's good shit. Listen. Some things never change on Sunday. One of those things is New York City football. New York City football. I used to think that Thursday Night Football hosted the worst games of the week, which they usually are. But man, the NFL London games are really games that people don't want to watch. The first game we're going to talk about, again, excuse my jitteriness. The first game we're going to talk about is the Rams and Seahawks. Now, we talk about a team, I said the Giants were unlucky, the Jets were unlucky. The Giants are very unlucky, but the Jets are very unlucky, but the Giants take it to a whole new level of unluckiness. Last second field goals, penalties, interceptions. The Giants will give you a chance to believe that they're going to win the game. That's what happens. The Giants will give you that opportunity to believe, hey, we're going to win the game. They got it done in New Orleans. Yesterday wasn't even close. Yesterday was the New York City disaster. We're due for a few of those each year. The first game of the week is Thursday Night Football. I don't really get into Thursday Night Football too much, and the reason that is I feel like Thursday Night Football, by the time Monday, Tuesday comes, everybody almost forgets about it. The Rams and Seahawks, NFC West matchup. Stafford, 365, a touchdown and an interception. Henderson, 82 yards and a touchdown, and then, of course, Robert Woods. I definitely didn't win my fantasy this week, that's for a fact, because Cooper Kupp didn't do shit. DeAndre Hopkins didn't do shit. Matthew Stafford didn't get me that many points. Robert Woods had 12 receptions, 150 yards. Russell Wilson, again, 152 yards, a touchdown and a pick. And Metcalf, 5 receptions, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 26-17, the Rams get the win. The Seattle Seahawks are another team that you can never put your money on. When I think of the Seattle Seahawks, I think of one of two things. The most lopsided team in the NFL is the Seattle Seahawks, because what will happen is the Seahawks will put up 45, Russell Wilson will have 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, and the next week he'll have the performance that he did. 152 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Seattle has had no run game since Marshawn Lynch. Chris Carson always gets hurt. That's another guy I had as my backup running back. I had to put the best option I had in my fantasy was Alex Collins, who got me, 9 points? My fantasy, there's not really too many running backs left. Best one is maybe Leonard Fournette, but that's really it. So yeah, that's that. You know, the Rams have shown that they're dominant and they're great. One thing that is to worry about with the Rams, when they smacked Tampa Bay, I will tell you this. That sets up Tampa Bay smacking them in the playoffs. Tampa Bay will probably get the first seed. They'll probably get home field throughout the playoffs. And I'm sure at some point they're going to meet the LA Rams because the Rams are going to be good for the rest of the year, and I'm sure they'll have a deep playoff run. And it's at that point in time where Tom Brady once again continues to remind everybody that it is his show until he says otherwise. Tom Brady, the Rams will probably be favored, will go in at Tampa and beat the Rams. It'll probably be some crazy game, some amazing game, and Tom Brady will show you once again that it is Tom Brady's show, and you're just there as a witness. That's what I believe. We get to the next game, London. Never really get into the London games unless it's one to really get up for. Next week is the Dolphins and Jaguars. It's just, I can't. They put on games at 9:30 in the morning, and it's nothing that anybody wants to see. Jets and Falcons, no thank you. Dolphins and Jaguars, no thank you. It's just, I don't care. Zach Wilson, 192 yards and a pick. The Jets have had no run game since Carter, 38 yards and a touchdown. Corey Davis, much more quiet this week than he was against my Titans, which he dominated us. 4 receptions for 45 yards. We get to the Atlanta side of things. Matt Ryan, typical stat sheet, 342 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Kyle Pitts had his first big game as an Atlanta Falcon. He was so hyped up throughout the draft. And he has his breakthrough game with 9 receptions, 119 yards, and a touchdown. The Falcons get the win 27-20. I didn't see the highlights of this game, and I didn't see the end of it, but the Jets were worthless in the first half. They gave you a little bit more hope in the second half, but the Falcons edged them out. You know, the Jets, it's hard to trash talk them as a Titans fan because they beat us, right? So you can't really say much. Only thing I could say about that is that the Titans had nobody. I wish we still had Corey Davis. Brown was out. And even when Brown's been on the field this year, he hasn't done anything. Nothing. Julio was good. Again, he was out. He was out again this week. And it's just, it's the offense rides on Derrick Henry right now because our rookie receivers, some of them are okay, but they're not running for 100. They're not going for 100 yards. Even our backup running back, Jeremy McNichols, he's okay. But the only breakthrough performer is Derrick Henry. The line hasn't been playing great. Tannehill hasn't really been lighting it up. He's been decent, but the offense is not looking what it needs to be. The defense has gotten a little bit better. But again, it's just our test comes next Monday against Buffalo. We might not win, but we have to look decent. If Buffalo shreds us, it just reminds you that we're not ready for any type of deep run. And that's just the reality of it. Julio and Brown at full health. The line starts playing better. Okay. In my fantasy, I actually wanted to pick, I was thinking of picking Cincinnati against Green Bay. Cincinnati is one of my favorite teams to watch right now. Joe Burrow, in his second year in the NFL, he is showing you how to get it done. This game went to overtime. I watched most of this. I use a streaming site. You didn't hear that from this. You didn't hear that from me. Packers and Bengals. Rodgers, 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Jones had 103 on the ground. Beyond fantastic day for Devontae Adams. I mean, you got to tip your hat to this guy. He'll catch the football and take it 70 yards. Easy. 11 receptions, 206 yards, and a touchdown. Great stat sheet. Jamari Chase had a great game for Cincinnati. I like Jamari Chase more than Devontae Smith. Joe Burrow, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Jamari Chase, 6 receptions, 159 yards, and a touchdown. So as you can see, the Bengals are really starting to get their offense going. Their defense has been playing good. Again, the Bengals are one of those teams. They're trending in the right direction, but they're not ready for any type of Super Bowl party. There won't be any of that. But look out, again, the Chargers are very similar. I think the Chargers are maybe a little bit further along than Cincinnati. But Cincinnati and LA Chargers, those are your teams that are on the come up. One of them could be a breakout. I would probably go with the Chargers more so because I think their team's a little bit better. But I would like to see one of the two make a playoffs. And the AFC has gotten a lot better this past season. So, you factor all of those things into place. It's better. The AFC has been a one-trick pony the last couple of years. It's been Kansas City. Buffalo has started to creep up. It was us for a little bit. But up to now we have some new kids coming in. We have the Bengals coming in, the Chargers coming in. The Ravens were always in the mix, but I never really took them as a, oh my God, threat. Kansas City obviously is the forefront. Buffalo. Who else could you say? Who's in the AFC North? Cleveland. I don't, something about Cleveland that's just missing this year. AFC West has been dominant. Broncos aren't ready. They always have bad injury luck, but you can't really complain because what you've seen from Teddy Bridgewater hasn't really been that bad. So that's that. We get to the next game, Minnesota and Detroit. Kirk Cousins, it's just like, what are we talking about here, right? No, you know what? We talk about unlucky teams. Minnesota is on the cups of it. Unlucky. New Orleans, holy shit, I can't think of. New Orleans has had bad playoff luck. They've been good during the regular season, but you want to talk about a team that just... The Rams, Minnesota, Stephon Diggs. Again, last year, Minnesota, playoffs. Last year, the year before. Anyways, Jared Goff, boring. 203 yards and interception. Kirk Cousins, 275, a touchdown and a pick. Alexander Madison, Dalvin Cook has been a fantasy dud. He hasn't even really played. He's been hurt most of the year. But that's definitely your top 5 back in the league. And Justin Jefferson does what he does. 7 receptions, 124 yards. Minnesota edges out Detroit 19-17. Again, the Lions, we talk about a team that is going nowhere. But their last 2 games, they've shown you that they can hang with their teams. They should have beat Baltimore, but Justin Tucker has an iron boot. And then Minnesota, again, didn't watch the highlights, but they only lost by 2. So what do you really say to that, right? Juju Smith-Schuster out for 4 months. Hasn't really done much but dance on the field in the last 2 years. You like that, right? A little insult. Pittsburgh and Denver. Pittsburgh has been a giant question mark, man. I think we all can agree that Pittsburgh is so hit or miss. They really have. Ben hasn't looked that great. The supporting cast of Pittsburgh has not been what they're used to. Their defense is okay, but their offense is lacking. We've seen some potential from Harris. He had his first big game yesterday. Claypool did as well. I always like Chase Claypool. I think he really comes along good. Pittsburgh gets this win, though. Bridgewater, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Cortland Sutton, 7 receptions, 120 yards and a touchdown. Ben had 253 yards and 2 TDs. Harris ran well, 122 and a touchdown. And Chase Claypool, again, 5 receptions, 130 yards and a touchdown. Pittsburgh gets the win against Denver, 27-19. My cousin was at the game, caught me off guard. I don't know what the hell she was doing in Pittsburgh, but she saw Pittsburgh win. A lot of times I feel like, at least when I was younger, we would go on vacation and my dad has always been baseball number 1. We would go to baseball games because a lot of times football is more expensive. Most of the time you don't go to football stadiums unless you're a fan. Like if I went to, but I prefer football. Football is my number 1, easy. Anyways, drifting off of topic, good win for Pittsburgh. Again, it's just a giant question mark with Pittsburgh. Denver's easily improved. Their offense has gotten better. Their defense has been decent. But Teddy Bridgewater needs to get some credit right now. A beatdown in Miami. Dude, it's like Tom Brady's like the gift that never stops giving. I think everybody says that. He's just, I remember every year the last year, we all sat and we said, nah, Tom Brady's done. His last year in New England when we booted him out in the first round, New England didn't have that supporting cast. They had a phenomenal defense. No supporting cast. Their offense was dog water. They had a decent run game, and that's one thing that New England's always done well is they've always bred good running backs. Dion Lewis, even though when he left he was never the same. James White, Damian Harris, not Rex Burkhead. Who else? There was another one. I think I named him. They've always had small running backs that can always catch that speed. But, so on and so forth. Tampa Bay and Miami. Jacoby Brissett, 275 yards, 2 TDs and a pick. Myles Gaskins had a little bit of a day. He had 10 receptions for 74 yards and 2 TDs. He also rushed for 25 yards on the ground. Brady, 411 yards and 5 touchdowns. I don't know too many people that are age 44 that can do what he just did. Exception Aaron Rodgers. I don't know how old Aaron Rodgers is. Exception Peyton Manning. Tom Brady. It's just like, I feel like he doesn't age. He doesn't age. It's just ridiculous. Fournette, 67 yards and a touchdown. And Antonio Brown, man, is starting to find his suiting again. When he was in the league on Pittsburgh, he was undoubtedly the best receiver in the league. I don't even think that was up for debate. 7 receptions, 124 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 45-17, Tampa Bay gets the win. And one thing I'll say is I've always rooted for Antonio Brown. I know the past couple of years, the ending in Pittsburgh. If you guys don't remember, he never played for Vegas. They were Oakland at the time. Had the Mark, what was his name? Yeah, altercation. Raiders cut him. New England got him. He tried that shit on New England. And Bill Belichick was not playing games. Goodbye. Then he found a home in Tampa. And it looks like, I know he's been close with Tom Brady, but it looks like Antonio Brown has gotten his act together. He's starting to perform on the football field. Good for him. I always want to see people overcome obstacles in life, whether it be mental health, physical health. Somebody like myself who's battled with it so strongly, I always root for people to do that. New Orleans and Washington. Washington, again, complete hit or miss. Winston, 279 yards, 4 TDs and a pick. Kamara, 71 yards and a touchdown. Callaway, 4 receptions, 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. I didn't write anything about Washington because I don't think Washington had any highlights. I really don't. Again, I'll look this up again. Beneke had 248 yards and 2 picks. Antonio Gibson, 60 yards and 2 TDs on the ground. As I try to navigate through this, that's really it. That's really it. Adam Humphries, 3 receptions, 73 yards. Can't believe Adam Humphries is. I completely forgot about him. He would make a couple of plays on the Titans, but he never did much. New Orleans beats Washington 33-22. Very, very odd and weird. Eagles and Carolina. Carolina's been a fun team this year to watch. The Eagles have been hit or miss. I don't think too many Eagles fans are complaining about Jalen Hurts. He's obviously still getting his feet wet in the NFL, but I would like to talk about Jalen Hurts. Maybe I could talk to some Eagles fans and get an input on what they think about him. Because, again, I haven't been following the Eagles that close. I know they've been hit or miss. Jalen Hurts, 198 yards and an interception. Devontae Smith, 7 receptions, 77 yards. Sam Darnold, 177 yards, a touchdown, and 3 picks. And Hubbard had 101 yards on the ground as Christian McCaffrey remains hurt. Reason why I never draft him in fantasy, because, one, I'm biased as shit for Derrick Henry. Eagles got the win, 21-18. Didn't follow this game or really look at the highlights, but good for them. I'm usually, I try to watch the highlights Monday or Tuesday, but NFL has their highlights at, literally 15 minutes long. Have their highlights be 7 or 8 minutes. Certain games, if it goes crazy into overtime, 11, 12 minutes, but there's no need for a 14-7 game to have 16 minutes of highlights. What highlights are there? It's 14-7. It's 3 touchdowns. Whatever. Eagles get the win. Carolina was winning most of the game as far as I know. Titans and Jacksonville. I will say we dominated Jacksonville, but if there's any way to explain this game, the Titans won 37-19, but it felt like it was a good but not good win, if that makes any sense. Brown was a non-factor. Julio did not play. Tannehill had 197 yards and a touchdown. Derrick Henry does what he does, 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. Lawrence, 273 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And James Robinson has been fantastic. 149 yards and a touchdown. The Titans smashed the Jaguars 37-19. We are undefeated against our AFC South. We beat the Colts, beat the Jaguars. We haven't played Houston yet. We have to play Jaguars and Colts again. Should win the division. Outside of the Colts, there's any type of competition. The AFC South is so weak. If we were in a different division, okay. New England and Houston. Again, New England's another team that it's hard to put your finger on because you don't know what you're going to get out of them. We've seen them lose games they shouldn't. I think the Patriots are one of the hardest teams to bet on right now. Houston is somehow, some way playing in their games. They got washed by Buffalo. They come in. They put a great game against New England. Houston is, again, where they're so hit or miss. Mac Jones, 231 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Harris, 58 yards and a touchdown. Henry, 6 receptions, 75 yards. We get to the Houston side of things. David Mills, I believe is his name, had 4 interceptions last week. He rebounded with 312 yards and 3 TDs. And more, 5 receptions, 109 yards, and a touchdown. New England gets the win 25-22. I don't know if this was the last-second field goal shit. So on and so forth. We get to the 4 o'clock game frames. We're dragging this shit so long. Chicago and Vegas. Rather drink bleach than watch it. Justin Fields, 111 yards and a touchdown. Derek Carr, 206 yards and an interception. Josh Jacobs, 48 yards and a touchdown. Chicago beats Vegas 20-9. Again, Vegas is one of those teams. They'll play a couple good games and then they'll fall to shit. Probably the offensive Megatron of the week was the Chargers playing Cleveland. Mayfield, 305 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's about to get crazy. Stay here for this. Nick Chubb, 161 yards and a touchdown. David Njoku, 7 receptions, 149 yards and a touchdown. Justin Herbert, 398 yards, 4 touchdowns. Austin Eckler, 66 yards and 2 touchdowns. And here we go. Mike Williams, 8 receptions, 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. An offensive juggernaut of a game. The Chargers get the win 47-42. They may have run out of pyro at this game because that shit was going off every 30 seconds. I don't know if you guys remember the game with, I think it was the Rams Super Bowl season. They played Kansas City. Final score was 54-51. It was, I think NFL has the full game on their channel. I know NFL, I watched some of them. They have full games on their channel. You know, some of them are old classics. You know, Peyton Manning's last game against the Colts. The Manning brothers, their first game against each other. Sometimes Super Bowls, classic midseason games. Just shit like that. Dallas and New York. Again, we talk about how unlucky the Giants are. We got 1, 2, 3. Shit, we didn't even put Buffalo versus Kansas City. We're going to actually go to NFL for that. We will go to NFL for that. Excuse me for my impatience and my fucking terrible preparation. Yeah, whoever did this video, this guy sucks. We'll get to that in a minute. I think I may have fallen asleep before that game and had a massive lightning delay. But we're not here to talk about that right now. We'll just bring the stats up on that. All right. So the Giants and Cowboys. Again, what do you expect from any of that? What do you expect, really? You got to take a look at it. You got to take a look at. Listen. Dallas wins the game. Glennon took over for Daniel Jones. I forgot when Daniel Jones got hurt. Had 196 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Booker ran for the Giants, 42 yards and a touchdown. Kadarius Toney has his first big game in the NFL. 10 receptions, 189 yards. We get to the Dallas side of things. 302 yards, 3 TDs, and a pick for Prescott. Elliott continues to regain his feet. 110 yards and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 4 receptions, 84 yards, and a touchdown. The Dallas Cowboys annihilate the Giants 44-20. As long as the Cowboys don't collapse, there shouldn't really be any reason why they can't win the division. The Eagles are hit or miss. Washington, again, is not strong enough, and the Giants are just unlucky. If things could go right for the Giants, they would have a legitimate chance, but that doesn't tend to happen on New York football. Arizona and San Francisco. Again, San Francisco's hit or miss, but Trey Lance gets his first start in the NFL. 192 yards and interception, but he also rushed for 89 yards on the ground, so another thing. Kyler Murray, 239 yards and a touchdown. And DeAndre Hopkins, 6 receptions, 87 yards and a touchdown. Arizona beats San Francisco 17-10. Arizona stays undefeated. Arizona is another one of those teams where, out of all the teams that are doing good, I think they're the best. I said going into the season, watch out for Arizona. They got some receivers. Their defense got better. They get the win. I think Arizona's going to have a great year. If they haven't already. I think that Arizona could legitimately finish 13-4. Could they win the NFC West? Again, all of the West is so strong right now. You got the AFC West. The Broncos playing better. Vegas sucks ass. The Chargers playing great. The Chiefs are looking vulnerable. And then you got the NFC West. Seattle's hit or miss. The Rams are a favorite. Arizona's playing great. And San Francisco's hit or miss. But both Wests are just completely... The AFC is coming along, man. I'm talking about the NFC, sorry. But it's coming along. Sunday Night Football. A lot of rain, lightning delays, so on and so forth. Going into this game, I picked the Buffalo Bills to win. Because I honestly thought they have a better defense, and I think the Buffalo Bills are a better team. That is just my opinion. If you don't like it, suck it. Josh Allen, 315 yards and 3 touchdowns. Rushing, if I can scroll down here. Allen also had 59 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Dawson Knox, 3 receptions, 117 yards, and a touchdown. Emmanuel Sanders had 2 touchdowns as well. That is for the Buffalo Bills. Patrick Mahomes, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. He also rushed for 61 on the ground. And receiving, McCole Hardman had 76 yards, 9 receptions. Travis Kelce had 57 yards, 6 receptions, and a touchdown. The Buffalo Bills beat that ass. 38-20. The Bills go to 4-1. The Chiefs go to 2-3. I never thought that 5 weeks into the season we would be talking about the Chiefs being not only below 500 but losing games. They lost to Baltimore. They lost to the Chargers. The Chiefs have lost 2 games in a row. They're still a great team. They're still going to be in the mix. But if they're showing you anything, they're showing you that the AFC is now competitive. The Chargers are there. I think right now my favorite for the AFC is Buffalo because they have experience. They have a phenomenal defense. Their offense is great. You know, the run game is not really consistent with Buffalo, but Buffalo is showing you right now that they run the AFC. That's just my opinion. I think the Chargers are creeping up. They're not ready, but I think Cincinnati is slowly creeping up. These are teams that maybe aren't ready to take on Kansas City. I think Buffalo is better than Kansas City. I think the Chargers are very good. Cincinnati is nowhere near ready. As far as us Titans go, we're a bit of a mess right now. Our offense is not performing the way it should. Our defense has gotten a little bit better. We need to level up. Again, I don't think that we're in Super Bowl category, but we can get there. Monday Night Football, the Colts at the Ravens. Before we take a look at that, I think the Colts... I'll have to take a look at that. The Colts... The Colts are coming off the Miami win. The Ravens are coming off of the Broncos win. The game is in Baltimore. I will pick the Baltimore Ravens to win. Let's see what Carson Wentz can do against a really good team. That is your NFL Week 5 review. We ran this shit long as hell. I hope everybody enjoys the new layout. We're going to get a microphone and all that shit coming soon. I appreciate everybody for watching. As always, continue to stay